Hey, this is Reverend Lance with Street Bishops, and today's frequently asked question is, how much does it cost to run a ministry? Well, it depends on what kind of ministry, of course, that you're operating. But I'll tell you, it doesn't cost a dime to make a decision to answer a calling and to begin speaking to people about your vision and your calling and to begin organizing things for your ministry. That doesn't cost anything. And what I'm going to encourage you to do, and what I have found usually works best, is follow your heart and the calling. And if you follow it honestly, and you share your vision with others honestly, no matter how much it costs, those revenues and those sources will come to you. Now, you may see others out there who have ministries and they're struggling in their ministries and in their church for money. Typically, those people are struggling because they're really going it alone. If your ministry requires you to walk the streets, which just means you need to be healthy enough and keep yourself fed and clothed to walk the street and to speak to people, that's a real low-cost ministry. If your ministry is one online where you're just answering questions in the Yahoo answer sections about people's issues and then you share the word of Christ with them, well, that's pretty low cost. That's just your time. If you're doing other things like providing clothing or food or transportation, if you're hosting folks to get together for activities, if you're running a wedding ministry or a divorce ministry, then you could have costs that involve marketing and advertising and buildings and things like that. But those costs tend to develop slowly. When it comes to churches, that's just a matter of making sure you pay for stuff before you incur the cost. There's churches out there who float bonds to do humongous buildings, which is just an insane thing to me, but everyone to their own. There's people who get into a lot of debt to build a big building, which just, look, I grew up in a different time and place, but I grew up in Rock Church in Virginia Beach, Virginia with John and Ann Jimenez. And our church just grew from, several hundred to several thousand in a short period of time. But as I remember, there was no debt, because when there was time to build a church, the money was raised first. When a bill would come in, the bill would be presented to the congregation, and right there, in faith, folks raised their hands and paid the bill. And so there was not a lot of debt. There was not a lot of debt incurred. I think if you run your ministry where you bring people together and share your vision, then they will also share their own wallets and their own contacts. If the ministry work that you want to do cannot even begin to occur without a massive financial outlay, then you just need to go to a partner, right? Share your vision with the church and ask them if they want to underwrite it for you. The last thing that you want to do when it comes to financing a ministry is to, I'm not going to say fool yourself, but to launch out. If you have a ministry and the budget is $100,000, if you personally cannot write the check for the $100,000, then before you do anything else in that ministry, you need to share the vision and gather the partners, right? Don't do a little bit of it hoping you'll get the rest, because 99.9% of the time, that's not going to happen, right? It's not that we have little faith, and it's not that God can't do that. It's just that it's not a very good practice, because if you need $100,000 to do a particular ministry, figure out how to do it on $300 first, right? And whether you can write the check yourself or whether you can gather some folks together for the $300, then do that first to prove out the concept of whatever ministry you're engaging in. If you're starting a church in your home, that doesn't cost anything unless you want to provide some coffee and cake, and even then you can ask people to bring the coffee and cake. I'm providing my living room, so you guys bring the coffee and cake. That doesn't cost anything. So a ministry can be done each ministry has its own particular budget, right? As I said before, you may be doing a soup kitchen, a homeless shelter, you may be taking lunches out to seniors, you may be bringing seniors together for a movie night, or whatever your particular way is to gather people together and show how Christ acts, right? Because that's your greatest ministry, is the way in which you work with others. A lot of that, most all of that can be done low cost, but even the larger stuff that is very cost intensive, you can prove it out in a small way. Because if you can't pay for it a little bit, you'll never pay for it a lot. And I shouldn't use the word never when I'm talking to Christians, because we all believe in miracles. But let's be real about this. We want your ministry to be successful from the start. We want you to really be able to answer the call and answer the vision that God has given you to move forward. And we want you to have small successes leading to larger successes, which means that you answer the question this way. Does it cost a lot of money to start a ministry? It depends. Have a good business plan. Make it scalable, and gather folks like street bishops or me and others around and say, are you all willing to help? Have the small successes, and then the money will follow success, okay? If you want to get some other answers to questions like these, come on over to streetbishops.com. That's streetbishops.com, and we'll have a place where you can just sign up real quick, and you'll get all 20 of these frequently asked questions about ministry. You'll get them for free. You'll get them right away. And then we'll have some other things that we can show you. But many blessings, and this is Reverend Lance, and I'll see you on the other side.